I'm Evie.
And I'm Kelley.
And welcome to The Current,
where we talk about our current favourite YA novels.
Our team have selected 30 books we love from the past year in the hopes that you will too. So this is our next episode.
Yes.
Crime, punishment, and getting away with murder.
I didn't want to call it thrillers. It's a boring thing. We all know what it is. It's crime, it's thrillers,
okay.
it's murders and mysteries, but I just want it to sound cool. So.
And it does. It sounds great. It sounds great. What we are going to talk about though is this book,
yes.
Thieves Gambit. Now this has just been turned into a TV show as well, or a film or something.
I think so. This is one that the film rights or the adaptation rights were purchased before it had even been released.
You're joking.
Yeah. And having read it, I can absolutely understand why.
Right.
It's incredibly visual storytelling. So the Thieves Gambit is the story of a young girl called Ross. Ross Quest, who is the youngest of the Quest family, who are our legendary thieves.
Ooh.
So we're talking international heists, we're talking breaking into museums, you know, stealing things from yachts, all very glamorous, very high octane, really fun visual storytelling elements. But Ross, bless her, does not want to be a thief anymore. She would like to go and just be a teenager for a bit. So she's planning to kind of make a little escape from her quite overbearing mother, who understandably is quite a paranoid person.
Right.
And has sort of drilled into her that, you know, you can't trust anyone outside the family, that kind of vibes. But then they have a last job and Ross is planning to kind of sneak away, but it ends up with her mum getting kidnapped.
Right.
So Ross has to come up with $1 billion to pay the ransom,
Whew.
which even for an international thief is a lot of money. But coincidentally, she has just received an invitation to the Thieves Gambit.
Coincidentally?
I know.
How fortunate.
What are the chances? And that is a competition with young thieves from across the globe to compete in a series of challenges to prove who is the best thief, and the winner will get whatever they want. So anything they want. Apart, you know, can't raise the dead, but pretty much anything else is on offer. So she thinks, right, this is the chance to get my mum back. So enters this competition. So right from the get-go, it's great fun. Anyone who sort of loves kind of old heist movies, kind of Ocean's 11s, things like that. There's lock picking, there's, you know, diving in and out of lasers, all this kind of stuff. But it's also a kind of ragtag group of young people. It reminded me of sort of the beginning of Catching Fire, the second book of the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Where it's sort of like all these people are experts in their field, no one trusts each other. They all know that it could get violent because obviously this is high stakes. And they've all got different kind of expertise and approaches to sort of these things. And Ross, you know, who has been taught her whole life never trust anyone who isn't a Quest, has to sort of maybe make alliances with some of these people. Some of whom might be charming British young men. Oh
yes, we love a charming British man.
Yeah. I think they're more charming when you don't live amongst them. So yeah, it's really good fun, and I think the sequel is due out later this year, I believe, and I will definitely be reading it because it leaves it on quite a cliffhanger. So I think there might be quite a series ahead of us with this one.
So our next book is Someone Is Watching You.
Yes, I'm glad you said our next book rather than just saying that. It was creepy. Yes, Someone Is Watching You. This is a really fun one. It takes place over the course of sort of 24 hours, even less, sort of an afternoon almost into evening, which I really like. And the setting is really fun. So it's set in an old prison that is now being used as a soft play centre for children.
Oh, the perfect location for children to be having a nice day out.
Yeah, charming. Which is brilliant. And I think I looked up the author, I sort of follow on the socials, and she was saying that I think this was something that she saw in real life, a disused prison being repurposed as a soft play, and immediately thought, oh yeah, there's got to be a story in that, and I think I agree. It's a great setting. So it starts off with our character, night there. She's been sort of dragged along with her little sister to sort of be there, but then she sort of starts to investigate and explore this abandoned prison, mainly to try and impress her new boyfriend's group of friends.
Right.
Who are quite kind of stereotypical cool kids, and she's trying to sort of impress them, and they're all quite into dares and doing kind of dangerous things. So she's in the group chat, and they're sort of saying like, oh, that's not scary at all, like find us something really scary. And she ends up sort of making her way further into this abandoned building, and the stakes immediately jump, and it becomes quite freaky, especially when she realises her little sister has followed her.
Oh no!
Yes, yeah. So it's very atmospheric. The tension is constantly like she's in sort of mortal danger very soon into the book, and sort of stays there for a lot of it. And of course, it's an interesting one because she's not a very likeable character at the beginning. You know, she is that kind of really frustrating thing when she's just trying to impress people, and she's being quite dismissive of her little sister, and her whole focus is on kind of being perceived as cool or edgy. But it's quite a nice narrative if she sort of readjusts her thinking as her life is put in danger. But no, really good fun. Quite gory at times. There's one moment that you'll know it when you get to it, or if you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That I sort of went, oh no. But I won't spoil too much.
No.
It's quite near the climax, but it's not pleasant.
Okay.
But yeah, really fun. Really sort of read in a day kind of book. You'll get sucked into it. Our next book is This Book Kills.
Yes.
Very ominous.
Very ominous.
And this is another recommendation from our colleague Gavin.
It is indeed. It sounds brilliant. So this is set at an elite school, and it follows our main character Jess, who is kind of there. She's got into the school, but she doesn't actually fit in with everyone else who's there.
Scholarship kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And be very wealthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she obviously feels maybe not connected, or she doesn't really have anything in common with these people. She writes a short story, and then the most popular boy in the school, who's called Hugh Henry Van Boren. What a name. What a name.
My goodness, yeah.
He's murdered using her short story as inspiration.
Oh, so he dies like the short...
Yeah.
Oh.
In the manner that the character is murdered in her short story, it's the same for this Hugh Henry Van Boren character.
Feels very Agatha Christie. I feel like that must have been a plot point at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Surely.
Yeah.
Surely.
Very kind of traditional thriller-esque vibes for this one.
Yeah.
And she realises that she has to figure out who the murderer was, because otherwise she's going to be next. So we kind of follow her journey to discover the truth about this school and this sort of secret society that supposedly run the school.
Oh, it's very kind of dark academia vibes.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, definitely dark academia. So it sounds like a really good one. So we'll have to add that to our TBRs.
That pile's getting higher every day.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. So our next book is Every Word a Lie.
Yes.
By Sue Wallman.
The lovely Sue Wallman.
We are big fans of Sue Wallman, and fun fact, we actually went to the book launch for this book, for Every Word a Lie. So we're very excited to be talking. It feels like it's come full circle. We're talking about it today.
Yeah, fabulous.
So Every Word a Lie is the story of Amy, and she and her friend Stan start a catfishing prank on their friend Holly.
Just a harmless prank.
Just a harmless prank. They pose as her crush, but then Holly winds up dead.
Yeah.
So we're immediately thinking, what the higgity hack is going on here? So Amy realises that she has to figure out who is actually in control of this catfish, and she needs to stop this catfisher, this anonymous catfisher, before anything else happens and before she ends up murdered as well.
And she's completely ostracised. People find out about this prank and they're absolutely horrified that she did this thing. So she loses her boyfriend, her whole life changes, so it's the stakes are very high immediately. And of course she's lost her best friend. And something that was supposed to just be a bit of fun has turned very deadly.
Yeah. So it's a thrilling one. It's engaging. I mean, it's like so many of these. They are called thrillers for a reason. They're kind of unputdownable, great reads.
Yeah, and Sue certainly knows her way around a twist.
You've read one of her other books as well, haven't you? Such a Good Liar.
Such a Good Liar, which is a great one, sort of about stolen identity, trying to get away with, living as another person amongst the elite. So that's another one that I would definitely recommend. But yeah, this one, Everyone to Lie, very cool, and the kind of catfishing idea, I feel like, in an era of sort of, don't just trust on face value what you see online.
Yeah, you never know that who you're talking to is actually who you think you're talking to.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I think it takes it to extremes in a really fun but very thrilling way.
So our next one is Murder on a School Night.
Murder on a School Night.
That Gavin's read.
Yes.
And he enjoyed. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And it's one of those ones that one of our other colleagues, when she heard the premise, was like, you have to get this, it sounds amazing. And it has been coyly referred to as the menstrual murder book, because it is a series of murders that revolve around menstruation, around periods, around things like that, that kicks off when the most popular girl in school is found dead with a menstrual cup shoved in her mouth.
That's pretty gross, to be honest.
But also hilarious. And I mean, every book we've talked about today is full of blood.
Yeah.
It's full of gore. And yet this is, a very natural bloody path that most of us have to go through. And yet this is the one we're like, ooh. But yeah, it's a really fun, very kind of, very fresh. So there's quite outrageous humour, I think. I think it's very kind of close to the line. But the characters, he said, were absolutely brilliant and very funny. There is a real kind of gung-ho, nothing's off the table, kind of gross out humour at times, I think. But no, this is a brilliant one, and it's definitely on my list because it sounds hilarious.
Yeah, it does sound funny.
So, we've spoken about our kind of top 5 thrillery books for this year, but let's do some recommendations for people who want even more murder in their lives.
Well, crime and thriller, to be honest, I would say is probably my second favourite genre after romance. So I've read quite a lot of stuff, not super recent stuff, fairly recent, but not super recent. So everyone will probably be familiar with Karen McManus. I love One of Us is Lying, but actually my favourite book by her is Nothing More to Tell, which was on the current last year, and also accidentally, shouldn't happen, but it was also on Cover Story last year too.
Oh, so double lecture.
It was on both of our lists for younger teenagers and older teenagers. And I just love it. I think it's such a brilliant story, and highly recommend her books to, everyone, really, because they're just fantastic.
Yeah.
Another super famous name in the teenage books, crime and thrillers, is of course Holly Jackson,
of course,
who wrote the Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I've heard that those are amazing. They're on my list. Haven't got around to reading them yet.
I have read Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's very fun.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes. And yeah, very much. And I read a lot of crime and thriller as well. I did not see it coming.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
I love the twist.
Yeah, love that. And it takes a lot to get me nowadays. So yeah, very good.
So yes, the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series obviously is brilliant, super well known, but one of her more recent books is 5 Survive, and there are 6 characters in an RV, and they basically get threatened. You need to, one of you has a secret, you need to tell us what it is right now, or we're going to kill you. And of course the title of the book is 5 Survive, and I did say there were 6 on board, so
and does it keep its promise?
It does.
Nice.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So that's brilliant as well. And then the other one that I wanted to mention, again, I think this was on Cover Story a couple of years ago, is The Agathas.
Yes.
Yeah, which is a brilliant book. It's by 2 authors, Liz Lawson and Kathleen Glasgow, and it's from the two different perspectives of 2 girls. And I think it's quite clear that they wrote they took a perspective each, so they write a chapter each.
I love that. I feel like that's not done as much anymore.
No.
But I like it when 2 authors sort of do that. I feel like it was much more of a thing, but yeah.
And if you like Agatha Christie, you'll definitely enjoy the Agathas, because there's so much inspiration from her books in the Agathas, and they're big fans of her writing as well. So yeah, so we've got some incredible books on the list, and also some great recommendations too.
Hello, Emily here. We got slightly distracted while filming this video. If you wait to the end, you'll see why, but I just wanted to quickly hop on and give a few more recommendations for those of you who are looking for even more crime stories. Looking for JJ by Anne Cassidy and Aftermath by Kelley Armstrong are both two really good psychological thrillers that sort of look back on previous events that happened in the past of their main characters, and examine what went wrong, what happened. Very dark, very, very ominous, very creepy. Small Spaces is another one that has very creepy vibes, about a girl who had an imaginary friend that she saw do something sinister in her childhood, and is now starting to wonder if he was imaginary after all. And then Harrow Lake by Kat Ellis and You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kayvion Lewis are both really fun, thrillery ones that include elements of sort of slasher movies and the kind of 80s Hollywood heart-pumping, serial killer on the loose, but with lots of pop culture references as well. So hope you enjoy.
And one of her more recent books is 5 Survive, which is amazing. They're on like a